Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Riyatno. I'm from Institute Teknologi Telkom Purwokerto. In this occasion, I'd like to present my paper entitled Common Mistakes in Understanding Simple Present Tense and Present Continuous Tense Sentences, a case study at non-English department students. Introduction. As we know here in Indonesian education system, English is a compulsory subject. It means that from elementary school and then junior high school, senior high school, the students have got English in their class. It means that actually the students have been familiar with English, especially for the simple sentence pattern. It means that actually the students are able to make simple sentence like, I want to study and others. Here in communication context, grammar is very important to avoid misunderstanding. It is very understandable here that grammar has an important role to shape the communication effective. It means that if one doesn't use grammar correctly, it means that the communication will be ineffective. And among the competence in communication, it is stated that grammatical competence, together with sociolinguistic competence and communication strategic competence, develops communicative competence. It means that if one doesn't have grammatical competence in communication, it means that the communication will be ineffective. It means that the communication or the communicators do not understand each other because there is a gap in grammatical competence. Then here we'd like to focus on simple present tense and present continuous tense. It is mainly based on the fact that those tenses patterns are mainly used both in spoken and written communications. And based on the experience that the communicators usually use these tenses in their communication. So that we'd like to know the mastery of simple present tense and present continuous tense in the communicative context. And then the objective here is to analyze the common mistakes made by non-English department students in understanding simple present tense and present continuous tense sentences. Here, I teach in telecommunication engineering study program. It means that English is not their main subject. Actually, all teachers have explained the importance of English in international relationship. It means that when the students are going to apply for a job, then they are able to use English. When they are going to have interview in international company, for example, it means that they have to master English well. In fact, the students of non-English department, not all actually, do not have high motivation to study English. They think that they just focus on their main subject. So that's why it is our challenge actually, how to motivate students to study English. And then here, because we are going to, we talked about the mastery of simple present tense and present continuous tense, means that we'd like to invite the students to change the positive into negative interrogative. Means that we'd like to discuss about the auxiliary verbs do, does, and be. And then we also explain to the students that actually when we are going to understand English sentences, it means that we have to understand the relationship between subject and verb. Actually, the core of the meaning here is in the relationship between subject and verb. And also, the change of the sentences actually is in the verb. Yeah, because when we are going to change positive into negative, for example, it means that the verb have to be added by auxiliary verbs, do not or does not. Yeah, and then the verb itself, has to be changed whether it must be in the basic form. Yeah. Okay. So here it is objective. Then the research method. Yeah. So we are going to discuss what technique here. Technique is any of a wide variety of exercises, activities, or tasks used in the language classroom for realizing lesson objectives. So here it is an action research. So I took the data from the class, yeah. And then the study was an action research that I conducted in odd semester academic year 2018-2019. The odd semester was also the change of the curriculum in which the content of the English subject differed from the previous academic year, namely from TOEFL to General English. As we know, TOEFL refers to the grammar-minded. It means that, of course, they try to understand how to master reading and then listening, yeah, and then structure and written expression. Yeah. And then to General English, it means that it has been changed. Yeah. For grammar-minded to communication. It means that for General English, the students hopefully are able to use English in a communicative context or in communication. So it is the change from the TOEFL to General English. Yeah. And then here, I use 5 instruments here to know the students' mastery in simple present tense and present continuous tense. I only made 5 sentences. The first is positive simple present, and we use his father. It means that the subject here is his father. It means the third person. Yeah. Then his father speaks, and then the second test material is positive simple present tense, yeah, but the subject refers to the plural, yeah. And then the third, my sons are in the movie, it is non-verbal sentence, yeah. It means that there is only subject and be here. And then for number 4 and number 5, it is for present continuous tense, yeah. Again, we'd like to use the subject he and then the subject my sister to differ from single, singular, and plural. This is the finding and interpretation here. Yeah. Among 89 students, here, the students who were able to answer the first question, the first test material, it means that from positive to negative simple present here, only 28. Yeah. It means that the percentage here is 31.46%. Yeah. And then for interrogative, it is lower than the first, only 27 among 89 students. Yeah. It is the fact that actually the students were still confused the relationship between subject and verb. So that's why only 28 for the negative, 27 for interrogative, who were able to answer correctly. Then for the second question here, yeah, there were 45 students who were able to answer correctly among 89. So this is the findings, yeah, the percentage, yeah. And then the average score here is 59.91. Of course, as a teacher, yeah, or as a researcher, of course, yeah, it means that it is the fact that it is under our passing grade actually. Yeah, only 51.91. Yeah, so it is the interpretation here. So based on this, we'd like to conclusion here that the students had made the mistakes in negative and interrogative sentences. They did not use the auxiliary verbs do, does, and be appropriately. It means that the students have to understand the relationship between subject and verb, and then the students have to be able to analyze whether the subject is singular or plural. Because actually when the students are able to analyze this, it means that the students are able to determine whether they have to use do or does. Second, they made mistakes when the simple present tense sentences were preceded by the subject he, she, or it. Yeah. So here, it is the error here or the mistakes here that the students, for a simple present tense, if the subject he, she, or it means the third person point of view. As we know, if the subject he, she, or it here, the verb must be added by s or es. And the students think that if the verb is added by s or es, it means that they think that they have to use does. This is the mistake that the students made. Third, the use of present participle verbs were still commonly found in the simple present tense sentences, so that the construction became incorrect. We find that some students use present participle verb in simple present. Actually, they are correct. They are right to make the subject and auxiliary verbs. For example, the teachers do not. But the verb, the main verb here is in ing form. So that the construction become the teachers do not listening, for example. This is the present participle phrase, but still commonly found in the simple present tense sentences. So that's why the last, it is the suggestion actually, teaching grammar in non-English department study program has to be designed in such a way that the students can understand how to make statements, sentences into negative and interrogative ones correctly. It means that we have to make a kind of pattern so that the students can remember it easily. Because in non-English department, actually, the students tend to memorize the pattern. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for your attentions. I hope that there will be suggestion or question and others. Thank you very much for your attention, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.